Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to start chapter 5, completing business message. So before going to start this topic, I want every student to listen to my voice very carefully and make a notes of this lecture. So the slides will help you in order to get all the lecture, and in the last a student is given every student has given assignments. So those assignments will be conducted from every student, and after that they will send me through email. So my email has been already mentioned in the previous lectures, so kindly note it down. So now we are beginning with the topic, so completing business messages. So the learning objectives have been here. After studying this chapter, you will be able to discuss the whole value of careful revision, or describe the tasks involved in evaluating your first drafts, and the work of other writers. And you will also get to know the list some techniques you can use to improve readability of your message, and you will also describe the steps you can take to improve the clarity of your writing, and give several tips on making writing more concise. You will also be able to identify software tools that you can help you revising messages and explain risks of using them. And you will also able to list some principles of effective design and explain the rule of major design elements and document readability. So we are also going to start a new topic, and that is revising your message and evaluating the first draft. So revising different type of message, there are different type of message we are going to study, and we will discuss it thoroughly. And the first type is revising informal messages, revising digital messages, revising important messages. So revising the message, uh, this chapter covers the tasks in the third step of the three steps writing process, revising your messages to achieve optimism or optimum quality, and then producing, proofreading, and distributing it. After you complete your first draft, you may be tempted to breathe a sigh of relief, send the message on this web, and move on to the next project. Resist the temptation. Successful communicators recommend that the first draft is rarely the tight, clear, and compelling as it needs to be. So, careful revision improves the effectiveness of your messages, and sends a strong signal to your readers, and you respect their time and care about their opinions. So the scope of these revision tasks can vary somewhat depending on the medium and the nature of the message. So for informal messages to internal audiences, particularly when using short messages tools such as IM or email, that we will be discussing in the detail. So the revision process is often as simple as quickly looking over your message to correct any mistakes before sending or posting it. However, don't fall into the common trap of thinking that you don't need to worry about grammar, spelling, clarity, or other fundamentals of good writing when you use electronic media. So these quality can especially important in the electronic media particularly if these messages are the only contact your audience has with you. First, poor quality messages create an impression of, we can say, an a poor thinking. So even a mirror error can cause confusion, frustration, or costly delays. Secondly, anything you write is electronic media, will be stored forever and could be distributed far beyond your original audiences. So don't join the message, or we can say that the business professionals who have seen ill-considered or poorly written electronic messages wind up in a news media, or the evidences in the lawsuits or the criminal cases. So particularly with the important messages, try to plan your work schedule so that you can put your first draft aside for a day or two before you begin the revision process. So doing so will help you to approach the material with a fresh eye. Then start with the big picture, making sure that the document accomplishes your overall goals. So before moving to a fisher point such as readability, clarity, or conciseness, um, compare the before and after version of the letter, and example of how carefully revision makes the messages more effective and easier to the sender. So here actually in this content we are taught that when you begin the revision process, so focus on the content, organization, and tone. These are the three things. So today, in the today's time, actually, our readers want messages that convey important content clearly and quickly. To evaluate the content of your message, make sure it is accurate, relevant to the audience need, and complete. So when you are satisfied with the basic content of your messages, review its organization by asking yourself these questions. So the questions are all points covered in the most logical or convincing order? Do the most important ideas receive the most space and greatest emphasis? Are any point repeated unnecessarily? Are details grouped together logically, or are some still scattered through the document? So, next consider whether you have achieved the right tone for your audience. Is your writing formal enough to meet the audience expectations without being too formal or too academic? And so is it too casual for the serious subject? So finally, spend a few extra moments on the beginning and end of your message. These sections usually have the greatest impact on the audience. Be sure that the first graph or the first paragraph is conveying the subject and purpose of the message. For longer documents, the opening should help readers understand how the material is organized, and also review the conclusion to be sure that it summarizes the main idea and leaves the audience with a positive impression. Okay, now in the next slide, we are going to discuss evaluating, editing, and revising the work of other writers. So, at many points in your career, You will be asked to evaluate, edit, or revise the work of others. So before you dive into someone else's work, recognize the dual responsibility that you have. First, unless you have speciality to rewrite something in your own style, keep in mind that your job is to help the other writer succeed at his or her task, not to impose your writing style. In other words, make sure your input focuses on making the piece. Uh, I mean to say, it makes the piece more effective, not on making it more some like you wouldn't written. So the second point is make sure that you understand the writer's intent before you begin suggesting or making changes. uh, if you make changes, so you also begin suggesting, so the intention, you have to understand the intention of the writer. If you try to edit or revise without knowing that what the writer hoped to accomplish, you run the risk of making the piece less effective, not more. So, with those thoughts in mind, ask yourself the following questions as you evaluate someone else's writing. So, what is the purpose of the document or message? What is the purpose of the document or after asking the first question, you should also ask the what is the target audience. These are the questions you have to ask. So the second question is what is the target audience? And the third question you will ask is what information does the audience need? Number 4, are there any special circumstances or sensitive issues that the writer had to consider? Number 5 is does the document provide this information in a well organized way? Number 6 is does the writing documentate or demonstrate the you attitude toward the audience? Number 7, is the tune of the writing appropriate for the audience and the situation? Can the readability be improved? Is the writing clear or not? How it can be improved? Is the writing as concise as it could be? Does the page or the screen design support the intended messages? So these are, you can read more about using the skills in this chapter. So it's all about these questions. Okay, so now we are moving toward another slide, and that is revising to improve readability. Okay, in this topic, see the difference. You will see a slight difference here. After confirming the content, organization, and the tone of your message, so make a second pass to impose readability. So most professionals are inundated with more reading material than they can ever hope to make your documents easier to read and easier to skim for the highest level. So when they don't have time to read in depth, you will benefit from this effort too. If you earn a reputation for creating well-crafted document, the respect of the audience times, so people will pay more attention to your work now and in the future. 4 powerful techniques for improving readability are varying sentence length, using shorter paragraphs, replacing narrative with lists, and adding effective headings and subheadings. So confirm content organization, tone, as well. So after reviving your message, make the second compass to improve readability. So the most professionals are inundated with more reading material than they can ever hope to consume, and they will appreciate your efforts to make your documents easier to read. Yeah, so same is the case here. Here actually these are the two differences. In the first, the same things have been discussed in this way, and in the second, the same things have been discussed in this way, but the difference is a slide actually. So the techniques and the readability have been discussed here and here, but here actually the headings have been given, and in the more conveying or unconventional powerful words it has been written, and here it has been written in a flow. So the reader can overcraft each and everything from here, and the reader can easily understand from here as well. Okay, tips of improving uh, readability. I will give you some tips of improving readability. For number first, alright, I want every student to listen to this lecture up till this slide, but after this slide I am going to make another part of this video, so of this lecture specially. So I will also discuss the tips of improving readability in the second part of this lecture. So keep watching the video, and let's join the second part. Thank you very much for listening to the first part, and you must join the second part in order to understand the lecture. Thank you.